Cool. How's it going? Oh, wow. No, I know him. I'm very familiar with Silence. Yep.
Unusual joint activity. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Okay. Great. Wow, each. Great. Okay. Sounds awesome, man. And then you're confident at the dispo price that you're gonna move it at? Awesome, man. Awesome. That's great. That's a great attitude.
Nate, can you make an announcement right now, please, in our chat? I'm doing one
Sure.
in his.
Yeah, it was
Thank you,
awesome.
sir.
It was awesome, dude. It was awesome.
It was good.
Yeah, great food. How about yours, McPin? Good, man. Yeah. That's
Nate, I don't
crazy.
like. I don't understand what's going on here. I'm lost. Why
Whatever,
is
man.
nobody? Why is no one? I'm kicking Camille from the Discord, Nate. I'm sorry. I have a strong feeling that there's a prevention in place that is his fault, and I'm not doing this.
I'm
This
sorry to
doesn't
hear
make
that.
sense.
Well, we can
No
keep that
one,
offline,
McPin,
Chris.
ignore
We
it.
can keep that offline.
Ignore it. Well, where is everybody? What? No one, McPin. Mine, please, just don't worry about it.
Yeah, again,
Where is everybody at? What the fuck?
I'm thinking that the holiday break is playing an effect. I think people are getting
I
stagnant.
honestly don't think it is.
No, I think it's a combination of things. Hey, Lehman's here. Oh, good. Lehman's here because I was just about to answer your call. Not call. I was going to answer your question
Austin.
in the DM, but it's a lot easier now that you're here. Lehman, can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up,
Are
Nate?
you are you is that what you go by? Do you go by Lehman?
Yeah, that's my name.
Sweet. Okay. Hey, so you asked me, so pretty much whenever you run into that hurdle of, well, do you want to buy it? They're asking you like you're the cash buyer.
Oh,
This,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so this stems back to, basically we don't want to give the impression that we're the cash buyer, like we're the people that are going to buy the house. Like we never want to do that.
Okay.
Hold on. So this is where a lot of people mess up. They're like, "Hey, I'm a cash buyer in the area. I would like to buy your house," but that's not true. You don't have $100,000 to do this, so you
Yeah.
don't want to do that. So that's why you stay being honest, but you just set it up in a way that still sounds credible. So, for example, um, I work with a group of investors who are looking to acquire properties in the area just like yours. It's my job to just find out a little bit more about the property and just ask you a couple questions. Do you have about 10, 15 minutes to talk? And they're like,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
sure,
that
whatever.
that sounds a lot better because whenever they would say that like today, I was on a phone call with somebody, and I was like, they were like, "Oh, well, do you want to buy my house?" And I go, "Oh, well, I am a wholesaler," and I just told them what all that
No,
was,
no,
and
no,
they
no.
go, "Oh, I'm not interested," and I go,
No,
"Oh, okay."
there's no need to say that. Basically, man, what you want to do is you want to put on the hat, you want to put on the mindset that you're working with people who have a lot of money. Like you legitimately want to get in that mindset that you are literally the bounty hunter for the people that actually do have the money. When you get in that mindset, you get in a more humble perspective, and that makes it a lot easier to approach because you get to feel more comfortable being honest and being transparent. And so you don't say like, "Oh, I'm a wholesaler," because like, I didn't know what wholesaling was before I found out what it was, right? So again,
Yeah.
get to the point. So they're like, "Well, are you gonna? Why do you want to buy it?" It's like, well, actually, the beautiful thing about that is it's my job to just find out some more information about the property and see that I can get you a number that you're happy with, and that I can get a number that my investors are happy with as well. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. So hold on, I'm writing some stuff down. So
Yeah.
pretty much say my job is to can you restate that, please?
Yeah. So basically, so somebody would come at me like, well, who's asking? Do you want to buy it? Be like, well, that's the
Yeah,
beautiful
they
thing.
always say that. They always say that.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, who's
So
asking, do you want to buy my
so you
house?"
can say, well, that's what's so great about this, or that's what's the beautiful part about my job. Like you can say something like that. You can say, well, the great thing about my job, Richard or whoever it is I have the pleasure of being able to match sellers to investors, and see to it that you get a number that you're happy with and that my investors get a number that they're happy with as well. So, um, yeah. And again, in no particular order, you don't have to say it just like that, but you can also touch on the idea like, you know, whenever it comes to that question of, whenever you get to that question of the dreaded question, like, how much do you want for the house, right? That's always the big
Yeah.
question. How much do you want for the house, right? Um, they're a little bit more comfortable to tell you because they know, especially after you say it like, hey, so I'm going to present this property to my buyers, but I want to know what number I can go to bat for you with. So, in other words, what number would you like to see? That way I can go to bat for you and see what I can do when I'm presenting this to my investors. Does that make
Okay.
sense? So
Yeah.
now you're building that rapport, and you're not the guy who's going to buy their house. You're the guy who's going to see that they get the price that they want. That doesn't mean you're going to guarantee it on that first call, right?
Okay. So they
That's
pretty
not
much think that you're not the one buying the house, you're
right, because you're
representing somebody
not.
else.
That's it. Yeah. We
Yeah.
have a couple people joining us real quick. I'm gonna continue with that question. If you're just now joining us, guys, welcome. This is a very valuable call. I want you guys to be able to feel like you can ask anything and everything because this is exactly what would happen every day in our VIP section. This is kind of like a free preview, if you will. So,
All
Lehman,
I had to do was click start event. Look at that.
I'm sick. So if you're just now tuning in, Lehman asked a great question. He's basically been coming at us. He's a VIP member as of today. He was able to ask us basically everything about the process, the actual specifics of what to say when the seller says this. And again, we were basically just touching on the idea that
I'll
we
show
never
that shit, honey.
we never want to make the mistake of saying yes, I'm the cash buyer.
Why
I'm gonna
you
go ahead.
show me?
I'm gonna mute Watt real quick. One
I
second.
already did.
Oh, you already did? Okay, perfect. Let me unmute him. We don't want to give the impression that we're the cash buyer, that we're the people with hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest when we're buying these properties, because that's not true. And when you do that, that sets yourself up for failure because now you have to drag on this lie. And then especially the most obvious time it shows up is whenever you are now it's time to find a buyer and your seller is wondering why you haven't paid the deposit yet, why you haven't like moved forward, why you need 2 weeks to do this. Like that's why from the very get go, you don't want to ever pose as that you're the person with hundreds of $1,000s. That's why you humbly put your pride aside and you're calling them, say, "Hey, Mr. Homeowner, they're like, who is this? Yeah, hey, this is Nate. I work with a group of investors in the Dallas area who are looking to acquire a couple of properties that look just like yours. I'm just giving you a quick call today to see if you are interested in
Huh?
selling your property." Does that make sense?
Yeah. Very.
Awesome.
So let's open up the floor to some of you guys. Some of you that are new here. Any questions? Anything that you're asking in general chat, etc., that you're
Yeah.
not getting answers to?
So how much have you made in wholesaling real estate?
Myself personally,
Yes.
hold on, I have to add the last deal we just closed.
Damn.
Give him a second. To spin off of
Four
that,
hundred
the
and
average.
56,000, give or take, over the last 5 years. It hasn't been recent at
Nice
all.
job, Chris.
All profit, bro?
Yeah. Well, I mean, minus a few $1,000s every couple months for software, but yes. That's actually no. I guess you're correct because a lot of them were JV. So no, but total revenue is that number.
All right.
Oh.
Great
Have you
job.
seen Joe Riley's profit or no?
Yes.
Let's talk about that another time.
We'll talk. Yeah. Well, again, this is a very valuable session for you guys to ask very valuable questions. Okay, we can talk about who Joe Riley is another time, but again, this is y'all's chance to ask. This is
Because
y'all's
I'm
chance.
in this server too, by the way.
I'm
What'd
sorry.
you say?
I'm in the server too. I'm in the Discord server as well.
That's
Okay, great. Well, this is your chance to see where we stack up and compare to other servers. Again, you have two guys here practically leading the conversation. Any questions? No, no question is too dumb. No question is too specific.
No, really, guys. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
There should be another 10 or 15 people hopping in here soon.
If you're listening,
So
yeah, I'll even make
before
it easier for y'all. I'm sorry, if you're listening right now, but you feel like you're a little bit microphone shy, just go ahead and pop your question in the free chat as well, and we can answer it via the voice call.
Correct. Keep in mind, if you're microphone shy on Discord, I don't know how any of you plan on making phone calls.
I was going to mention that too. Ideally, you wouldn't be microphone shy because this.
Hey, Watts, can you do me a favor and mute your mic until you're ready to speak? You have a lot of background noise. Would appreciate
Laylo.
that.
So Laylo,
I don't want to have to server mute you.
So Laylo's asking in the free chat, how do I start? Well, again, I guess that's a very, very good question. We'll keep it simple for now, and then we can get into the specifics. Basically, you're finding you're finding people who want to sell their property.
You are?
You're finding people who want to sell their property. Then you're going to find people who want to buy those properties, and then you are going to assign that property to the buyer at a higher price than you got it. Okay, so that difference between the price you got it from the seller and the price you move it for the buyer, that's your profit. That's how much money you make as a wholesaler. Okay. Now that would lead to the next question, like, well, how do I find sellers? How do I find buyers? What paperwork do I need? What lots of questions. So we can get into that as well. Let me go ahead and fix something.
Yeah, that was an accident.
Wait, so you got these prop stream or no?
I do not know.
I'm glad you asked that because it's a pet peeve. PropStream is a pet peeve of ours in the server. There's so many other better softwares out there. Some of you might be familiar with PropStream just because I guess it's just very common, but just because it's common does not mean it's the best by far. What I'm going to do as a special opportunity for those of you listening, I'm going to include two other softwares. I'm going to post this right now, not in the free chat, but in this chat for this call. So look at what I'm posting here.
Why don't you walk them through it too when you're done?
Yeah, we can. So someone brought up PropStream, and if you don't know what PropStream is, it is a good, quote unquote, good software for finding leads, skip tracing. But remember, skip tracing, you got to pay extra. And if you don't know what skip tracing is, that means unlocking contact information for any particular property. Specifically, like if you find a property and you're like, oh, I think this is a good property, let me contact the homeowner. Well, now you got to pay extra money on top of that subscription to unlock the phone number. And then if you do get that phone number, it's not always guaranteed that phone number actually
and I was
belongs
going to
to the
chip in
owner.
and say, a lot of the information on PropStream is outdated. They pull from very large, databases of public information that, again, looking for pre-foreclosure specifically, I know a lot of you do that. Make sure you're checking, the last
please.
reported date, because more times than not, it's 2002, and you are going to look like the biggest idiot when you call the homeowner and it's three new owners later, and they're like, no, what do you mean? I'm up to date, or hey, it's paid off. So always make sure you're doing your due diligence.
Yeah.
I see a lot of PropStream users that are at dead end after dead end just solely because of the platform they're using.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. It's easy to use. It's attractive. It's made that way for the gurus of wholesaling. That way they can have an easy way of, you know, pitching something that works. But again, it's dead end after dead end. So, you
Yeah.
know,
And
make sure
again,
you're cross referencing these, you know, these leads and this information through other systems as well.
what I just shared in that chat, let me know if you guys can see it. I did not post it in the free chat. I posted it in this voice chat. If you're having trouble finding it, let me know. But you'll see that there's 2 links to 2 different softwares that I personally recommend. Number one would be Deal Machine. Okay. And this is exclusive for y'all that are in the call, because if you use that link that I've attached to these softwares, this is what's going to get you those, not just a free trial, but also marketing credits as well, like $35 free that you can send postcards to people's houses like for free. And it makes it very, very easy.
He's going to show you how to do that too. So you guys.
I am going to show you how to do that. And then the second one would be Lead Flow, which actually gives you scores based off of the data. And then they take that data, give it to AI. AI will decide how good of a wholesale deal it is. So Deal Machine number 1, Lead Flow number 2, as far as PropStream alternatives that we recommend. And the reason why is, notice Deal Machine, you don't have to pay extra for skip tracing. So I actually will show you guys one example while I pull this up, but Deal Machine will give you contact information included. So there is no paying extra or paying another $100.
And it'll tell you when it was last used, you know, the
Mhm.
carrier for the phones, stuff like that. Like, it's all up to date. So, you know, take
And this-
advantage of the link that Nate dropped.
Right. And that sounds like, oh, whatever, who cares what carrier it was? When you get into the grind, you're going to realize how much time that's saving you, knowing like, yeah, I don't want to waste my time on this phone number because it's probably not the right one.
Right. You know, you guys are
Okay.
wasting time, you know, dead end again, dead end after dead end. And that's
So-
why we're here, to eliminate those dead ends.
So I want
and
to show you
make sure
guys
we
an
know.
example on what this looks like. I'm going to share my screen, and if you're enjoying this so far, give me a hell yeah. But check this out. I just shared my screen. Let me know if you guys can see that. This is exactly what it might look like. So I can click on any given property. So for example, this is Deal Machine. When you pull it up, it'll look something like this. I can click on any given property, like let's say for this one, and I pull this one up, dude. Check this out. So yeah, I get all this information, but the good part is that look at this. It gives me a phone number. It gives me a couple of them, but it associates it with this person. And even more so, let me zoom in. See how it says likely owner? That's very important. That's crucial. And that means I can click on this phone number, and I have 2 phone numbers available, right? I have one that tells me it's a landline, another one that's a landline, tells me it's Verizon, and I had that phone number right there. I didn't have to pay extra for it. You see what I'm saying? And
Nate,
if I
I got a
wanted to,
quick question.
I'll get to that in a second. But if I wanted to confirm that this was the buyer, all I had to do is scroll down to the sales history and look who bought it last. This guy, Jonathan, right? And then I look over here, Jonathan, this is the owner right here. I didn't have to pay extra like how PropStream would have you do. Who had a question?
Me,
Lehman.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
When it's just solely landlines there, like, do you recommend still calling that, or do you do something else to try and find a wireless phone number? Because I remember, or obviously not a lot of people have landlines nowadays.
Right. So with landlines, you don't really have a choice as to whether you can call or text, right? And you can't really
Yeah.
text a landline. So yeah, I would absolutely give it a call. Another way to go about it is, again, their emails are also provided. There's 3 emails here. You know, it wouldn't hurt to, you know, send it all to the same owner since they're all associated with the same owner. Also, so yeah, I have some contact information that's for this owner, but I can just go to the next one and I see that, you know, Janelle is most likely family. She's also most likely a resident. I can go to the next one. Shannon is most likely a resident. So, you know, there's more than one way to get around that. And then, of course, you could try to cross-reference with like True People Search.
Okay.
But again, then you start to lose a little bit of accuracy in the process.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Deal Machine. I also want to show you guys one more thing while I'm here. A lot of you are concerned, oh, well, I don't live in a popular city. I want to drive for dollars, but I don't really live in a place that's good for wholesaling. That's perfectly fine because Deal Machine also handles virtual driving for dollars. So I can come up here to the top left and click that car, and then I can just start driving, right? And this is going to pull up something very similar to Google Maps, but what it does is it's pretty much simulating you going on that drive, like for example, let's go over here. I'm driving. Okay. But if I look at a house, look at what pops up in the bottom right. It gives me all that information right here. So see how that works? So yes, it's like Google Maps, but it's like you're actually there and you're able to just play Pokemon Go with the app, right? This is in freaking Maryland, okay? But I can still see who bought it last. I have their phone number right here. And this one's a wireless number, so that one's great. Moderate usage. It has the green dot right here, which means it's been active for over a year. I could text them right here. I could call them, copy it, do whatever I need to do. So that's why we highly recommend it. And if that wasn't enough, with the same property, I can click on comps in the top right, and I can instantly get an ARV. Instantly, look, ARV is 425, and the way I know that is because I have 12 comps, all that were recently sold, similar bedrooms, similar square footage, that Deal Machine already compiled for this one random property that I just pulled up. So now I have ARV ready to go, 425. I have comps ready to go. Okay, how much time would y'all have spent trying to find your own comps, trying to find, using True People Search to find the right number that actually belongs to the owner, and so on? I mean, Deal Machine has pretty much a good amount ready to go for any given property, and that's why we recommend it. So if you do want to try that out, we highly, highly recommend using that link that I just posted. In the let me post this actually in the free chat. I'll make it even easier for you guys. I am going to post this in the free chat, so you guys can do this. And the reason why you want to use this link is because you also, not only do you get the 7-day free trial, but you also get $35 in free marketing credits that you can use to send postcards. Check this out. Boom. Okay, so I just posted it.
Real quick, those of you that are in here that came from REI, the wholesale REI community, go and react to the post I just made. I want to get some more people in here. It's like, let's get the knowledge rolling here. So go react, showing them that you're learning something so we can fill this up here. I'd like this to go for an hour or two. We'll get as much information out there as we can. All of you take advantage of the sauce, really.
Yeah.
It's free.
Hey,
Literally
hey,
free.
Nate.
Yes, sir. Who has a question?
Me, Lehman again.
Lehman, what's up?
So would you recommend calculating your own ARV or going off of the one in Deal Machine? Is that fine?
That's a great question, and I have the perfect answer for that. The perfect answer for that is do both, because go off of Deal Machine's ARV, consider it, have it in your data, right? Just know about it, right? Then if you want to run your own comps manually, like using Zillow, or maybe if you have access to the MLS, not everyone does, but cross-reference both. That way you can get a more accurate ARV, okay? So
Okay.
yes, use what Deal Machine got you. It will do a good amount of the work for you, but then you can hop on Zillow or something and cross-reference to get the most accurate data.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to answer this question. Ariane, I hope I'm saying that. Ariane, I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that, but she says that I just started with wholesaling. She has all the software and the contracts. The only issue is she has more JV deals than from actual direct-to-seller homeowners. So how does she go about those? She says, am I finding an end buyer and splitting profit with the other wholesaler, or do I adjust the price so we're both able to profit equally? So there's a couple questions in that question, okay? But I'm going to answer it one at a time. So the issue is that she has more JV deals than actually, 100% direct-to-seller deals in her inventory, so to speak. And this is common. It's common for me even, because JVs are a lot easier to get a hold of because it's two people's efforts instead of just one. But when it comes to that, so let's say that I snag a deal in Dallas and I got it for 180 and I'm trying to get rid of it at 200K. Well, that means the middle would be $20,000, right? Now, if I'm able to successfully land that all by myself, well, then that means I'm going to make $20,000 in the middle. But if I feel like I can't find a buyer, but someone else can, like Chris or anyone else in my network, and say, hey, man, let's JV, or hey, shorty, let's JV, that means ideally we'll come to terms that we agree with. Typically, it's going to be 50-50, right? So I'm going to make 10K, they're going to make 10K. But Ariane brought up a really good concept that is actually not too uncommon. Do I adjust the price so we're both able to profit equally? When you're JVing with people on the internet, or you know them in real life or whoever, it's not uncommon for people to hey, if you can sell it for higher, sell it for higher. So in other words, if we use the same example as before, so if we have a deal that we got for 180 and we're trying to move it at 200, now there's 20,000 in the middle. But if Chris thinks that he can JV with me and sell it for higher, like 240, right? Who am I to stop that? Why would I want to stop that, right? So yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can wherever you think you can move that deal, aka dispo. Dispo is finding a buyer. Wherever you think you can dispo that deal, that's more power to you. Go absolutely go for it. But again, there is a bottom dollar that you'll want to keep in mind as far as pitching to your buyers. Okay, that was a great question. Great question, Ariana. I'm glad you asked that. Let's see what else other people have. Oh, by the way, so as I see a lot of people typing, which is really, really good. Ariane says that that helped her a lot. Ariane, if that helped at all, feel free to ask more questions. Also, guys, we have a reviews and testimonials channel right below the free chat. It would absolutely mean the world to us if you could leave a somewhat detailed review on anything that helps you this evening on this call. Okay,
Yeah,
lots of
guys,
questions, lots
this
of
is
people to
this is
get
a
into.
test run. We're gonna try our best to do as many of these free, network and free strategy calls as we can every week. But we're not gonna do so if you guys aren't actively participating and benefiting from this. Does anyone else? I see a lot of you here. Does anyone else have any specific questions? Nate, did you have
Yeah.
anything else to say?
Hey, I got a question.
Let's go
What's
with
up,
Luis. Luis Lopez, how are you?
Good, how you doing? I just got a question. So for those there's two contracts that you need, right? With the seller and then the buyer. That's
Correct.
only two contracts.
Well, yes.
There's two, and if you were to JV with someone, it'd be three.
Okay.
Oftentimes, not oftentimes. I'm sorry. Sometimes, in a rare scenario, there's other ones that are implemented by the seller. But as for now, you're working with the P&S, which is a purchase and sale agreement, and then your assignment contract, which is the one that you would supply to your buyer.
Okay, so in order to you guys provide those contracts, right? But you
We
have
do
to
in
be
our,
a part of the
VIP
VIP.
section. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay,
It's only $49, so it's all there. They're there for you to
Okay.
use. They're not branded, in any way, shape, or form. Everything that we put out for you guys is for you to use. They are attorney reviewed. They are Tyson Smith verified. They're ready to go.
Yeah.
Um,
So if
What's
McPin,
up?
what was that? Go ahead, McPin.
$49.
$49. $49.
$49 and you're a part of the VIP, is that what that is?
That's right. So
Correct,
okay,
yeah.
so we'll pitch that just for a second. We don't want to shell that chest yet. Where again, this call is to provide as much value as we can. But if you're already committing to joining VIP with us, again, $49 a month. You'll find that under the upgrade channel. Okay, and you get all kinds of benefits. You're gonna get calls just like this every single day. So what you're seeing right now, you've already seen how much information we covered in like 10 minutes. Now
Yeah.
me, Chris, and everyone else. We're always in these VIP calls, literally daily. And when I say literally daily, I mean daily,
Yeah,
every single
I
day.
actually work inside of these calls. When I'm meeting sellers, when I'm meeting buyers, when I'm at title company. Not title attorney where
yeah.
I live. You guys are following through the process throughout the entire day. I
I
wouldn't
as
say
well.
24/7, but I would say at my call time is probably a few hours. Jesus Christ, let me mute my phone.
Now check this
My
out. So
my
you
call
can
time
have
is in the hours per day. So
right. So you guys can spend hours, watching YouTube videos that are all cleaned up and polished up, saying step by step, this is what you do when they see this. This is what you do when you say that. But when you guys are in here and you're able to listen to us, literally just keep our mics on while we're talking to people, that is like just unscripted, raw, like it's like sitting in on us literally doing business and watching us
That's way
move
better.
forward in real time.
correct.
That's
So
way better.
VIP also
that's
comes
that's the
with
low play. That's the low tier plan. That it unlocks everything you guys absolutely need. And then if you were to be like, hey, I want hands-on experience, then obviously you could look into the higher plans that we offer. But I wouldn't recommend that anytime soon for any of you.
Okay.
I would, take what you can in these free chats. I will go out on a limb here and pay someone $100 if you're going to tell me that our entire VIP section for less than a tank of gas is, I guess you could say, how do I word this? No one else is doing it. No one else is giving you guys the real information. There's a lot of discords out there that are dead end after dead end for a reason, and is to retain you guys. We are solely selling this membership just because we're looking at it as being compensated fairly for our time. We've spent hundreds of hours putting it all together, PDF format, they're everything that you guys could possibly need, down to your bank
Ooh.
accounts for your LLC and the loan types, literally everything. So otherwise, other places you're getting that you're paying that for access to a chat. Cool.
Yeah.
You're paying for networking. That's great. but they're advertising it as here, learn this, but where are you learning it? You
Now
know
we
what I
don't
mean?
need we don't need to call them out by name. I think you guys can assume what servers are out
Yeah.
there that kind of offer less. But so that's not all, right? So we have somebody in the free chat asking, well, how do y'all differ from other people's mentorship? Because we've seen, he says that he's seen other people's discords. Again, it's not just that, guys. But like I said, first of all, that's the big thing. That's the big thing is you're able to literally come in here at any time. We'll literally be working every single day and just remain in here while we do all of our wholesaling stuff, kind of like a big study hall session that's every single day. So at any given time, any question, whether it's there is no question too dumb, there is no question too specific. You could just hop in. And if you see me or Chris in here or anyone else, you could be like, hey, Nate, I got a question. Yeah, what's up? Like, it's not even a DM. It's so much more on demand. Like, it's so much
You're
more
a part of our
live,
community, dude.
so much more live, raw, and it's not some scripted YouTube video. It's like you can come in here at any time. Not just that,
Right.
we provide you with the contracts. We provide you with special discounts to like Deal Machine. Like you just saw, there's more, right?
Right. Lehman actually just joined. Lehman has a property under contract that is going for a buyer that's ready to be closed. So take that with a grain of salt.
Okay.
If
So
Lehman wants to explain, they can.
we're going to touch more on VIP in a little bit on VIP membership, but let's go ahead and actually give you guys some more confidence that we know what we're talking about here. Okay. So Taj is in the chat. He was wondering if escrow is a necessity within the contracts. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think what he's asking is, do we have to label which escrow agent you're going to go with on the contract? Not necessarily. But when it comes to like, hey, do we need an escrow agent? Yes, they're going to serve as the referee to make sure that you get your money and to make sure that the buyer gets the property and to make sure that the seller gets their money as well. So escrow is 100% a necessity in any given wholesale deal.
How do you
Lalo said-
go about getting one of those? Let's call them agents. Make sure they get your money. Like how do you go about that?
So,
Yeah. Go ahead,
dealing with
Chris.
title agents, title companies, and attorneys. So, depending on where you live, you're either going to be using a title company to close or you're going to be using an attorney to close. We have a list in the VIP section of every state, if it's a title company or an attorney company, where you can find such. You're going to be working with the specific area that you're out of. So, if
Okay.
you are wholesaling in Maryland, for example, but you're virtual in Texas, you're not going to use one in Texas, you're going to use one in Maryland. You're going to make it easy for the seller because they have to show most of the time in person. They do. You may not have to, but they do. And it's as simple as Google search. Call around, say, hey, do you guys work with wholesale, purchase and sale agreements? Are you guys able to pull a title and in reference to this and then close on this property? It's really
Okay.
that simple. Depending on where you are, I can recommend a few of them to you. I only do local, so I don't virtually wholesale. Well, actually, I should rephrase that because I just started with Nate. Nate and I have had some real good success lately just because of a process we have implemented. But if you're in the Connecticut area, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, New York, or Massachusetts, I have a title, a title attorney for you. So just shoot me a message in private, and I'll send it over to you.
you
Don't
familiar with-
necessarily reach out to them if you're not ready to go. If you don't have something under contract, please don't waste
Right.
your time. They're
Yeah,
attorneys, they're not
yeah.
gonna like you.
Are you
I have a
familiar with the Lancaster area?
What's up?
The Lancaster area, like Pennsylvania, Lancaster.
Where is that?
It's about like 2 hours away from New York. Lancaster in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Actually, yeah. Wait, hold on. Let me get back to you in 2 seconds.
Okay,
Alright, yeah,
so
no problem.
while we do that, Lalo did have a question. I want to make sure it doesn't get missed. Lalo says, "How do you get your numbers for an offer?" That's a great question. It's the same as he says he has the software, he has the contract, but the problem he has is maybe they feel like they're overthinking a lot. I want to take this time to show you one more thing that I think you guys are gonna really, really like, and it's the MAO calculator that I think is gonna save you guys a lot of headache. I think, and let me show you. So again,
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
show them this? You're
I
wild.
am because it's not available.
You're wild.
I'm not-
Hey, you guys better
it com-
tune in. That's crazy.
Chris, it comes with VIP. Remember, they can't
I-
access it
no, you're
unless
right,
they're VIP.
you're right.
So, but I want to show
You're
you
right.
why you may want to consider VIP just for this one thing alone. So I'm sharing my screen now. When you
I just
become
sent
VIP
those. Sorry, Nate. I don't mean to interrupt. All of you that just DM'd me, I'm getting back to you right now. So just give me a minute.
When you become a VIP, and again, this is for those of you who are watching my screen, a very, very cool thing here. This is the Starfire MAO calculator. This is how you get, excuse me, this is how you get really, really good numbers, accurate numbers, right? So let's go back to that example that I had earlier. Let's say this was the deal, right? So this is the thing that we pulled from Deal Machine earlier. We have ARV of 425. First thing I'm going to do is come up here and change this to 425,000, okay? And you can see numbers are already starting to update. Now, I want to estimate my repair costs, right? So I'm going to go back over here, and this tells me that it is 1,906 square feet. So I'm going to change this blue box up here to 1,906 square feet. Now, assuming that I had some more photos, like let's say I looked at the photos and everything was just fine, everything's working, but it definitely needs some renovation, like paint, walls, carpet, just the whole 2024 touch up, right? Well, then I would probably hit this one right here. So this tells me that based off of this square footage, this is going to approximately run an investor $67,000. So I can click this blue box, update it to $67,000. The numbers change again. Then right here, this blue box, 15%. This is how much you're accounting for your investor to make. Remember, they're the people who are actually funding the whole operation. Without them, you don't have any money. You don't get paid at all. So you want to make sure that you're putting them before yourself. So I like to keep this at 15, if not 20. Other people like Tyson Smith will say don't ever go below 10%. Me and Chris have a couple buyers who actually don't mind 10%. But again, you
Yeah,
want to put
very
your
rare.
buyer, you want to be very selfless and humble when you are considering how much money you're allocating for your investor. Remember,
Hey,
without,
check your iMessage, please. Sorry to interrupt.
okay, without them, you have nothing, right? Holding cost is how many months you think it should take to renovate. And let's say you wanted to make, I don't know, $15,000 off of this deal. Excuse me, not 150, $15,000. Well, look at this. Just like that, like magic, you have a perfect number that already accounts for the repair costs, the ARV, the investor profit. And now you know that when you're calling your homeowners and your sellers, that you know that you cannot go above 242 if you want to make 15K. Now, if you wanted to give yourself some room, right? And they say, well, no, I'm not giving it to you any less than 250. Well, then you can, account for that, right? So then you can go back, say, okay, 7,000. And if you're okay with 7,000, then you have a deal. But at the end of the day, basically what you're saying is you're accounting for all the ARV, the repair costs, investor profit, and this means the dispo price, right? Everything's in parentheses, and it's made easy to understand when you're using it. Dispo price, you know that you can't go higher, or you shouldn't go higher than 257 when you're asking a buyer. So this is the price that you're going to give the buyer, right? Hey, Mr. Buyer, here's a great deal I have for you. I'm asking 257 for the deal. So this number is like top dollar, how as high as you should go whenever you're presenting to a buyer, which means this number is as high as you should go when getting it under contract. So if that's something that might interest you, you will get access to this instantly as soon as you become a VIP. And again, that's in the calculators channel with a full tutorial like how I just did as well. Okay.
Could you
Good.
guys answer my questions in the chat?
Sure. Mahad says, are you guys familiar with government lists? And then he says, do you guys have a state section in the VP so you can see who's wholesaling in your state? So
We do. That's funny. They're actually roles.
that is cool. We do have a section in, let's see, this is very important. So it's not necessarily something that you may not have thought about is each state has different rules, right? So I can tell you right now that if you are wholesaling in Texas, it's going to be a different process than wholesaling in New York. This is a quick lesson that I hope you guys have your notes ready for. Write this down because this could easily make or break your deal. Different ways to wholesale depending on whether the state is a title attorney state or a title company state. This is very important because what other servers are going to teach you is solely the process for title company states. But what they don't really tell you is that this is only good for Texas, California, New Mexico, Arizona. But what about West Virginia? What about New York? What about states that are not title company states? It's a completely different process. What you guys are used to hearing, if you are used to hearing anything, is you'll get the purchase and sales agreement under contract. You'll have the seller sign it. You'll have the buyer sign it, and then you go in and take that to a title company, and then you take it from there. But if you're in New York or you're wholesaling something in West Virginia, as well as other states that are title attorney states, you've already messed up because what happens in those states is you have to get a title attorney to represent the seller and a title attorney to represent the buyer, and have their attorneys send the documents to them directly. So in other words, it can't be you to send these documents. It has to be the title attorneys to do that. And the buyer's attorney and the seller's attorney together will act as the two-headed dragon that is the escrow agent in the same way that a title company would. But you can see how that's a very important thing to know. And you wouldn't have known that if you weren't in this call right now. Maybe you did know that, but I'm saying a lot of you wouldn't have known that. And here's what we just saved you. We just saved you the headache of, oh, I got this great deal in New York. I'm going to send the contract over to the seller. And now that I've signed it, woohoo, I'm about to make a lot of this money. This is so exciting. And then you find out that that whole process was invalid because it's a title attorney state, not a title company state. So you messed up because you didn't send it to an attorney to send to the seller. You sent it to the seller directly.
Yeah.
How else
By
would
that
you have
time,
known
it's
that?
too late. Just so you know.
Yeah, by that time it's too late because
You're
now
a
you're
dead deal, no matter
scrambling.
how good it was.
Now you're scrambling, and now you got to go back to the seller and say, "Hey, Mr. Seller, I didn't know what I was doing. I actually need an attorney. Do you have an attorney?" Question mark. And see now you
I bet
start.
all of you didn't even know that.
If you didn't know
Hey,
that,
hey,
let me
do you
let me
pay
just
for their
if you didn't know that, let me just invite you to leave a review, please, because again, it's that kind of information that is just off the top of our head that again, there is no like YouTube video for this. Maybe there is. I'm sure it's out there. But I'm saying the way you guys learned it was being here, being present. You see what I'm saying? And there's so much more information that's dropped in these voice calls, which is why VIP is so valuable because these calls happen every day in there. Okay. Lalo says that calculator is amazing. He needs it. Wait, did someone have a question? What happened?
Yeah, how do
Yeah,
you know? How do you know it? Like what? Like where do you go to find out if you need a attorney to send the documents? Like how do you know
That's a
that?
great question. So what Luis is asking is, where do you go to know if your state is a title company state or a title attorney state? Can anyone
just
take a
search it up.
wild guess? It's in the VIP section. We have a wholesaling states guide that will tell you which state is a title attorney state. Now, again, it's not like you couldn't find this information elsewhere. You could Google it, but once you're Googling things, then you have to like read and you have to like search through the search results and like see the specific laws. Or if you have VIP, if you're already considering VIP, not only is there a graph, right, an easy to understand graph, but there's also a state by state guide that will literally go into detail. And I'll do one for free right now because Smokey is asking in the chat. Smokey says, "Do I need an attorney in Georgia?" So all I have to do is I'm clicking on it right now. I'm not going to show you guys, but I'm clicking on wholesaling states. I'm clicking on the guide, and all I have to do is click on Georgia, and Georgia says attorneys generally take care of closings. So this tells me that it's not a title company state, it's an attorney state, which means you got to have an attorney representing both the buyer and the seller. And yes, you can have a attorney representing both in some cases, but at the end of the day, it has to be a title attorney to send them the documents, not you. See how I'm saying that? And if you would have done it the other way, you might have been in just a little bit of trouble. Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. So, do you pay for their attorney when you're assigning attorneys to both the seller and the buyer? Do you pay for that?
It's a great question. Let's let it be clear that the buyer, remember, so there's the seller and there's the buyer. Assume moving forward that the buyer is covering everything. So I'm going to bring that calculator back up, okay? Because I want you guys to kind of grasp this concept. This can be a concerning concept, and it's a fair question to ask. The question is like, well, do we have to cover that, right? The answer is no, but I'm going to explain sort of why that is really quickly. I'm going to bring up this calculator one more time. Peep this. So when we're calculating the numbers, right? How do we know if we have a good deal on our hands? Look at what we're already accounting for. Right here, module A4, this is how you account for what the buyer's realtor will make when they sell the house after it's renovated. Because remember, there's realtor fees, there's closing costs, right? And that's going to be associated with the title company, title attorney, repair costs, investor profit, holding costs. So these are all the things that they don't really tell you about firsthand. Some of you are under the impression that, oh, well, I'll just take the ARV, consider the repairs, and then minus the repairs, that's what I should offer the buyer. But you're not accounting for the 6% that realtors have to take when listing and selling the house, or the closing costs that the title company and title attorney are going to take, and then et cetera, and the holding costs, right? Because renovation doesn't happen overnight. It costs money to own the home while it's getting renovated. So these are all the hidden fees that you wouldn't have thought of otherwise that could make or break your deal whenever you're presenting to a buyer, right? So I hope
But
that
if
answers
you're
that question.
if you're going after off market properties, you don't have to worry about a realtor, right?
Off market properties?
Yeah, you don't have to worry about a
So
realtor coming in, right?
So yeah, so that's correct. So I know the question that you're asking. If it's off market, then that means it's not on market, obviously, which means it's not listed by a realtor. So no, you don't have to worry about realtors. But the buyer, after they're done renovating it, where do you think they're going to list it, right? So pretend you're the buyer, not the wholesaler. Pretend you're the guy that you just wholesale the property to. Now you have this
Yeah.
property, and now you've done the fixing, and now it's beautiful, but now you have to sell it. And more than likely, you're going to sell it not to an investor, because you're the investor. You've already done the investing. You've already made it the best it could possibly be. You're going to sell it to a family or a first-time home buyer, right? Somebody who's actually looking to live there. And more than likely, that means you're going to use a realtor if you're the buyer. So that's why we're accounting for that when we're presenting this deal to the buyer. It's basically, it's us showing that we are covering everything that is part of the process. So we're not leaving anything out when it comes to the profit for the investor. Again, we're putting our shoes, we're putting ourselves in the investor's shoes and showing that we're accounting for their expenses all the way to when they get rid of the property, which includes their realtor fees. Okay.
Okay. So you just do that to like get them to buy it?
It's a sell. Yeah, it helps
Yeah.
your numbers. Remember, let's bring it back to the foundation. You will not get paid if you don't find a buyer. And the only way, so in other words, your buyer, you need to be treating with the utmost respect of their time and attention. And you don't want to try to hoe them, or you don't want to try to, you don't want to try to give yourself a little bit more in exchange for some of theirs. Like, if the numbers work, great, but your buyer comes before you. And because if your buyer doesn't like the deal, and if you can't find a buyer that likes the deal, then you're not getting paid, right? So at the end of the day, you would rather have a happy buyer and make $5,000 than no buyer because you were trying to make 10,000. You understand? So yes, that's why we're accounting for the selling costs. That's why we're accounting for the holding costs, all the little hidden costs. Because, and again, this isn't just us being nice, guys. This is mandatory. This is mandatory because
Yeah, it is.
a buyer, if they're gonna think about this again, the buyer is accounting for all of this when they say yes or no to your deal. Okay, so it's not necessarily fair to say like, oh, we're doing that to be generous and give ourselves a halo. Dude, we don't have a choice. You should be doing that because otherwise your buyer's going to tell you to, kick rocks. You see what I'm saying? Okay, Naxo had a question. I got to answer this question.
Welcome to Hands On, Phoenix. Thank you for upgrading. We're looking forward to working with you. Make sure you pick up VIP also. It would kind of defeats the purpose being hands on and not having VIP. But hey, we look forward to helping you any way we can.
Guys, VIP is the main thing. The VIP is the main thing.
Yeah, I just made it mandatory that somehow that slipped past, but it was supposed to be an upgrade option only. So those of you that are planning on buying the hands on, make sure you have VIP also, or it's going to be useless.
Okay, so again, I see people they have questions, and we want them to get to it. You want us to get to them. I am going to get to them. Trust me. So I see all of the questions. So I have to start from the top. Okay. I'm going to try to get these. Smokey says, could you also get signatures with DocuSign? Absolutely. So some of you are familiar with DocuSign. It's how you send contracts over email, via email, and it still be legally binding. You can use something like DocuSign or Sign Now, but really DocuSign is free. Sign Now is also free. So yes, that was quick. Smokey says, Naxo says, how do you come up with the right ARV, not ARB, but ARV, if the comp numbers are all over the place? Quick answer would be the average, but sometimes it's a case-by-case scenario. Ideally, you want to underestimate ARV, overestimate repair costs. Remember, pretend you're the buyer. This is what I cannot I cannot emphasize this enough, guys. If you're trying to snake your way through a deal by saying, "Okay, well, I'll just increase the ARV to look better," right? Or I'll just go with less repair costs. Oh, it doesn't need that much repair. No, be the buyer for a second. The way that you're going to get accurate numbers is if you pretend like it's actually your money. You understand? Pretend like it actually is your money and overestimate for repair costs, underestimate for ARV, which is what you would get after it's repaired. Overestimate the bad stuff and underestimate the good stuff. Does that make sense? So when it comes to that question, how do you come up with the right ARV? Average, and then pick the lower end of that average. Okay, just to be safe. And if there's not a deal there, there's not a deal there. So we answered that question. Lalo also asked, oh, Logan just upgraded. Shout out to Logan. Shout out to
Logan, you upgraded?
So Logan upgraded. Phoenix upgraded, or not upgraded, but he bought the hands-on. I'm pretty sure he will upgrade though.
Oh,
You can see
okay, Logan.
what's his name? Oh, where was he?
How do I buy the hands-on?
So you would go to upgrade. Just make sure you grab VIP first.
Yeah,
Hands-on is a
VIP
one-time
mandatory.
payment. You know, it's one time. That allows you access to myself and Nate, and then any future or other current team members that are actively doing this that are, you know, an expert, I guess you could say. I don't know everything. You know, I'm still learning as well. I'm not learning anything from here, you know, but
Right.
I'm still learning.
Damn, I
so
should have
make sure you
joined
grab
y'all.
VIP.
I should have joined y'all before I joined Joe's Riley's, man. I fucked up.
You
So
know,
I was
it's
just-
funny you say that.
I know Joe in real life. We're not going to talk about that right now.
I can't
You know,
speak on
let's
that, and
move
I'm not
on.
going to speak on any other server. But we've heard that before. That's all. That's
Yes.
all I can say is we've heard that
we
before.
This is the last time we're going to mention this, but we actually almost partnered with him. I had a dinner meeting. He's an asshole. Next.
Yeah, he
Moving
does seem
on.
like a fucking asshole,
Moving on.
man.
So
Man,
speaking of them,
I'm gonna
can-
join y'all's.
hold
I'm
on.
gonna join y'all's.
Speaking of them, can one of you that is in that Discord please actually shoot me a message? I
Yeah, I'll
actually
shoot you
literally
right
just
now.
got kicked out of it yesterday. So I'm working on getting access back, but for the
wait,
time being,
so-
I need one of you to do something if you want to make some money.
Right. So
I'm
we're
down.
gonna answer.
In my
we're
line.
gonna
In my
answer more-
line. DM me.
Okay. We're gonna answer more
all right,
questions.
relax.
We're going to answer more questions. Real quick, again, I have to remind y'all that if you are learning something, if you've learned anything, right? If you have improved from this call, right? Like, oh, I didn't know that. It would be great if y'all could leave a review, just a semi-detailed review. Just look at what the other people are saying, just kind of see where they're coming from in the reviews. Again, that channel is right below the free chat channel. We would love to have y'all's feedback on on something that you learned or something that you found valuable. And if you are looking to get in on these calls more often, I highly recommend joining VIP, not just for these daily voice calls, but also contracts, access to the calculator that I showed y'all. Pretty much you can hop in the chat anytime that me and Chris are in the chat, just like this. Even if it's just us, even if it's just 3 people, even if it's just 2 people in the call, you'd be like, Nate, I got a question. Yeah, what's up? Hey, or what's up, Arion? Like, how can I help you? Hey, so, I'm not really sure how to, and then I would help you just like this, okay? This is just more of a preview, if you will, of what happens every day. Let's go
Hey,
back
Nate,
to
I got a
one
quick
more-
question.
One sec, Lehman. Let me say something.
Okay, go.
So, I've worked with course creators. I've been inside, $5,000 mentorships, working with them.
Is this
And
my
out
boy
of
Logan?
everything,
Let him cook.
yeah. I want to say, out of everything, this Discord has the most value. I've been inside $5,000, $10,000 mentorship, working with them. This is the most value out of anything that I've been inside of. Been
Let
in
him cook.
with the hands-on, everything like that. It's by far the best. It's worth whatever you spend on it. It's essentially you go to a casino, right? And the casino has odds, 70%, you have 30%. Essentially joining the Discord and trying it, it's essentially going to the casino with 95% odds. You just got to try your ass off and actually try it, and you'll be successful. It's literally just worth it. Just spend the money.
Yeah, guys, this used to be a $379 Discord, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yo, speaking of that, All C8, I think you might have been one that upgraded to that cost. So send me a PM. We're going to work on something because I'm not allowing you to spend that much money every month. So I'm going to have you cancel that. And then we're going to put you on another one after that 379 divided by 49 runs out. So
Smokey
Just
asks,
so you
how do
know.
Smokey wants to know, how does he find an attorney?
You know what?
We're
I
gonna-
do gotta get more involved. I do.
So for those of you that I just
sorry.
sorry.
One at
You
a
said
time,
what?
please. One at a time. One at a time. Go ahead. All C. Go ahead.
Wait, Chris, what'd you say?
No, nothing. I'm looking at it. I don't think it was you. By the way, any of you that just got my PM. I'm making a quick phone call to make sure that you are all protected and won't be removed from the group. So you have my permission to move forward with what I've asked of you.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely want to take this, to the, sky's the limit. So I definitely do need to dial in more. And I'm doing also wholesaling cabinetry on the side, but I'm also keeping this and you know what? I'm just studying. So I'm learning more of the calculator and I'm just doing my studies,
Nice.
Lehman,
Yeah.
those of you that are doing it, oh, you bought, okay, good shit, Phoenix. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure we addressed that, before
Yeah.
you came to us like, I don't have access. I did fix it. So for anyone else that's going to upgrade, we should be all set. I'll see. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nate.
I was gonna say that somebody was saying that they couldn't write in the review channel. I fixed it just now. Oh, it was Naxo. Naxo says that he wasn't allowed to write in the review channel. I just fixed that just now, guys. So if you guys are able to leave a review, semi-detailed, specifically on what helped out, that would be great. So let's get to the next question though, because I know Smokey was waiting for a minute. Smokey is asking, let's see, how does he find an attorney? This is going to sound like a cop-out answer, guys. It really is. It's going to sound like a cop-out answer. It's going to be like, really? Is that really the answer? Guys, Google will tell you where you can find an attorney in each state. Just Google, title attorney in West Virginia, title attorney in Google, and just give them a call. Say, hey, do you work with wholesalers? Right? Hey, who's this? Hey, this is Nate. I'm actually just calling because I have a property under contract over in. I saw you do title. I saw that you handle title work. And I have a property under contract over in West Virginia. I'm just wondering if you work with wholesalers, purchase and sales agreements, assignment of contracts, things of that nature. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been doing this for 15. I've been doing this for 15 years. I actually just closed one last week and then you just start a conversation. Okay, Google it, pick up the phone, start dialing. Okay. As a matter of fact, I got to play that.
Pick up the phone and start dialing.
Start dialing.
All right.
That's funny.
Hey Nate,
All
I
right.
got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Lehman,
So-
come on, man.
What?
Go ahead.
Ask every question he wants. You know why? Because he's a VIP member.
And he's hands-on too.
Anything.
I mean, I gotta ask all the questions I need to ask. I
No,
feel.
ask.
dude.
Please ask away. Everyone else can learn something too. So
So a couple minutes ago you were talking about the what was it? Wholesaling states or something?
mhm. Yes.
So my state is red. So does that mean that I
If you're
can I-
Lehman, you're in Oregon. We already went over
Yeah.
this. Ignore it. I got you.
oh,
Hey, but
okay.
real quick, I know what you're talking about. So right now, Lehman's asking because he's a VIP and he sees the channel and he's looking at the graph. But do me a favor, notice that there's an actual link, not just the graph. There's an actual link, and then that way you can click on your actual state, and it'll tell you.
I have to change Oregon. It's wrong.
Oh,
I don't know why it's
I
red.
should have excuse my language, but I shit a brick. I was like,
no, yeah,
oh,
no. It's wrong.
okay,
No,
that's
no,
Again,
no,
just goes to show that all information is not always accurate.
No,
Well,
I'm
sorry.
referring to the one above that, Lehman. If you can scroll up, there's
Yeah,
a link.
I see that.
And that link will direct you to whatever state you need to.
Smokey,
know
talk
about.
in chat. Let's hear it. What's up? Pretend I'm a seller.
So Smokey raised the question like, well,
Oh,
I have
he
a thick accent. Again,
Lay low.
you can have an accent. Again, it
brother.
really just comes down to how you are presenting yourself. Guys, this is a real big one. Unfortunately, we do have to have this talk with some of our members or some just people in general. A lot of people kind of have the know-how, like they're book smart, but when it comes to saying things or even texting things, there is something that's not quite clicking there. Guys, I'm not asking you to write an essay or be a Harvard, English professional, but when you are dealing with tens of thousands of dollars, right, and you're asking people to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you're asking people to sell you their home that they lived in for 10 years, or you're asking people to sell you their house for $100,000 less than what they want for it, the very least you can do is come correct with your presentation. So I understand that speaking isn't everyone's strong suit, But there are just certain things you can do even via text that can make or break the deal. I am dead serious, guys. Though even when you're texting people, capitalize the start of your sentences. End with a period. Don't have any typos. Like, have a greeting, have some information on that first text that gets them to know who you are and what you're doing and why and what you're like. It's called communication, and whether you're speaking it or you're typing it, guys, there is a certain way to do it that's gonna either take you there or it's gonna tell you to check your stuff at the front door. You know what I mean? So there is a certain level of presentation that you want to have, and if it helps, guys, I know that this might seem like it's something that you want to pick up, like, oh, it's something I want to get into. Well, if you really want to get into it, I need you to pretend, at least for the moment, that text you're going to send or that call you're going to make has $20,000 on the end of it or $5,000 on the end of it. I want you to think about what you're currently doing for money and then ask yourself, is it worth capitalizing the I in this text? You understand? I think it is at the end of the day.
Just so you guys know, as a VIP member, you get access to a channel that is or a voice channel that's specifically made to roleplay calls. One of
Oh,
you use the
yeah.
buyer, one of you use the seller. Whether it's me, I know I forgot about it too until you brought that up. One of you is the seller, one of you is the buyer, or vice versa with myself, Nate, or others. Very, very helpful, extremely. It lets you guys learn how to what?
Go ahead, keep going, Chris.
No, it just lets you guys learn how to communicate properly, how to use proper terminology, how to start conversations. We like to do one or two big ones like this, a little bit more than what's in here every week, hopefully. That way everybody can listen in, and we could even do one here, live time if you really want us to.